see I have a lot of fun doing because I learned some facts and then everybody else gets to have some fun with it as well. So I hope everybody's staying safe and everybody's just, kind of hanging out. Thank you all for tuning in. I appreciate it. So if you like this kind of content, I really do appreciate it if you let me know, because that helps me with making more good content that people like. I'm just gonna have some water with my stats here, my information, all of this facts. So let's start out with fact number 1. Here we go. Superman. There's 150 facts. We're probably only gonna do like 50 of them, like 25, and then we'll do the rest in another video. So Superman did not always fly. So the original comic book, Superman could leap tall buildings in a single bound, but then he had to come right back down to Earth because he didn't fly. It wasn't until the 1940s where the animators for a new animated series decided it would be difficult to routinely draw him bending his knees, that it was decided that Superman could take off into air. Readers got to see smooth animation, and the superhero gained a new power. Pretty cool. Alright, fact number 2. The first computer was invented in the 1940s. These days, supercomputers are everywhere, and they really don't need much space at all. Have an Xbox One posted up in your living room. That's a supercomputer. A laptop, tablet, hybrid in your bag. That's also a supercomputer. Don't even get started on the thing in your pocket. Everybody knows that. The phones are insane, but when supercomputers first came around, they needed much, much more space. Just take a look at the world's first one. So look at all this stuff, like the monitor, the board, all this stuff over here. It had to be on like a legit desk. Just take a look at the world's first one, the electronic numerical integrator and computer. It was built at University of Pennsylvania School of Engineering. Weighed 60,000 pounds. It took up a room larger than most studio apartments. 1,500 square feet. That's crazy. Now you have a supercomputer, right here. It's just a phone. Space smells like seared steak. That's fact number 3. So people ask astronauts what space smells like, and I know we've talked about space in the Earth's ocean before, and that's a pretty cool topic. It interests me a lot. But the astronauts say it smells like hot metal or searing steak. So pretty interesting fact there, that it smells like hot metal or searing a steak on a grill. Yeah, so that's insane. Number 4, the longest wedding veil was the same length as 63.5 football fields. So somebody was clearly trying to pick a record here. 22,843 feet. Wow. She broke the Guinness Book of World Record. A woman from Cyprus in August 2018. Fact number 5. The unicorn is the national animal of Scotland. While Scotland proudly boasts the Loch Ness Monster, one of the world's famous fabled creatures, the country opted to make another mythical beast its natural animal. The unicorn, although this might seem like an odd choice, Visit Scotland explains that unicorns played an integral role in the country's history. Back in the 12th century, William I used the proud beast in the Scottish Royal Coat of Arms. Okay. You never know what you'll learn from Best Life. This is not an ad, by the way. I just use this website because it has a lot of cool facts about a lot of different stuff, and it's pretty reputable. They sell a lot of ads, though, on the side of the website, which I don't like, but, everybody makes money, right? 6, fact number 6. 6. Bees sometimes sting other bees. Bees are notorious for their stings, but humans aren't the only ones who experience the pain in the neck or the arm or the leg. In protecting their hives from outsiders, some guard bees will stay by the entrance to sniff the bees that come in, says Marianne Peso from the biology department of university. If there's a rogue bee from another hive trying to steal some nectar, the guard bee will bite it and even sting the intruder. Pretty crazy. Just like humans can bite other humans, but they shouldn't. Don't do that. Number 7. Kids ask 300 questions a day. Yeah, I believe that, for sure. I 100% believe that, but I think I was more of like a 600 a question day type of kid. Hence why I'm reading all this stuff, because I find it really interesting. And I used to ask so many questions as a kid, and I used to get yelled at by like older people because they're like, stop asking so many questions. You're only limited to, they would say like, I'm limited to like 20 questions a day, which like never happened because I just asked so many questions about ridiculous shit or whatever was going on. I just wanted to know. Like, I think that's why, like, if someone talks to me about some topic, I'll have some sort of insight on it, even if I'm not like really well educated on it. I'll talk to them about what I know, but I also like to learn from other people. So if someone wants to tell me something about a specific thing that I don't know completely about, which, that's how you learn every day, so it's a good feeling. So to ask questions is good. Always ask questions, even if you feel like you might sound stupid. It's better that you ask and find out than just not know. Or if it's a really bad question, like I don't know, like something really obvious, or something that you could research yourself. But like certain things, if you're in a conversation with somebody, don't be afraid to ask, unless it's like with your boss at like work. You might sound stupid, but it's okay. In school, definitely ask questions. You're probably not the only person thinking about the question either, so don't forget that. Number 8, the total weight of ants on Earth once equaled the total weight of people. Yeah, I remember this one. I think I read this one. Number 9, E is the most common letter and appears in 11% of all English words. Yeah, I mean, E is a vowel, so I can totally see that. The least common letter is Q. Okay. Fact number 10. A dozen bodies were once found in Benjamin Franklin's basement. That is weird. Multiple skeletons were found in the basement of Benjamin Franklin's London home. The bones were discovered during a 1998 renovation of the house and were identified as being from nearly a dozen people, including 6 children. The most plausible explanation is not mass murder, but an anatomy school run by Benjamin Franklin's young friend and protege. William Hewson wrote The Guardian. That's not to say there wasn't any funny business going on. The resurrection men could deliver bodies stolen from graveyards to the Thames Wharf at the bottom of the street wall. There was weekly public execution at the gallows on the other side of the garden wall. That's weird, but this guy's got really skeletons in his closet. Fact number 11. The healthiest place in the world is Panama. I don't know. I guess the life expectancy and everything. Healthiest areas factor ranking: warm climate, active social scene, healthy food, slower pace of life that makes for less daily stress. Yeah, that makes sense. I'm convinced that even in like Europe and other countries that I've visited in the past, the day-to-day life is a lot like less stressful. It's more stress-free, and they want you to kind of like enjoy your life. So like, let's say you go to work at like 9:30 or 10, and then you work till like 1, and then you get lunch for like 2 hours, and then you go back to work at 3, and then you work till like 7, and then you go home, or to like 6 even, and then you go home and you hang out with your kids and your family and enjoy that. So you get like a little bit more time for yourself, which I think is pretty cool. I think in America a lot of people like are either A, overworked, or B, they just like work really hard to be better, to keep up with like the rest of everything. I don't know. It's crazy. A pharaoh once lathered his slaves in honey to keep bugs away from him. That's messed up. Number 13. Some people have an extra bone in their knee, and it's getting more common. Okay. guess a long time ago, but now you don't need one. So a lot of people get them taken out because they get infected. Number 14, Pringles aren't actually potato chips. You won't see the word chip on the packaging. That's because Pringles aren't made of thinly sliced potatoes, but instead dehydrated potato flakes pressed into their signature parabolic shape that makes them less greasy. But when other potato chip manufacturers complained, the Food and Drug Administration ruled that Pringles couldn't be marketed as chips. The company eventually settled on potato crisp. Makes sense. It doesn't say chips. Number 15, there's a giant fish with a transparent head. The deepest levels of the ocean. See, this is cool. This has to do with one of the videos I did last with the ocean and how we don't know everything in it. Least explored of the areas of the planet. Look, the deepest levels of the ocean. See, it's least explored because of extreme pressure, cold, and dark at these depths. Only the very strangest of creatures can survive there. These include giant tube worms, vampire squids, goblin sharks, and viper fish, with teeth so long that they can close their mouths. Perhaps the strangest though is the barrel eye, a large fish with a completely transparent head. That thing looks freaky. Fact number 16. There's a decorated war hero dog. While in the trenches of World War I, the U.S. Infantry Division found themselves unable to communicate with other troops because shell fire had damaged the telephone wires. A young private came up with a unique solution: Rags, a mixed breed terrier whom the soldiers had adopted in Paris. He would carry the messages from one division to the next tucked into his collar. He saved many lives, and when Rags passed away in Maryland at the very advanced age of 20, he was buried with military honors. That is really cool that you can train a dog to do that. And it's even cooler that the dog lived to be 20 years old. That's really old for a dog. 17. Showers really do spark creativity. And I'm a firm believer in that. Let's see why. Showers aren't just good for your hygiene. They're good for your creativity too. For a 2012 study published in Journal of Psychological Science, researchers gave volunteers creativity problems to solve, followed by a period of rest. During the period, some were assigned demanding tasks, while others did simpler tasks that allowed their minds to wander, just like showers do. Those doing the simpler tasks during the resting time were most likely to solve the original creativity problem. Now, I'm a believer in that because I take showers, at night after I had my whole day. And the times that I think the most throughout the day are when I first wake up. When I first wake up, I usually, I don't usually grab my phone. I usually, roll around in my bed for, 10 minutes, and I kind of just lay there. And I have, thoughts and stuff like that, and maybe, some creative ideas, okay, what do I need to do today? Or what can I change today? Or something like that. Certain things happen, especially with, my business that I have. I'm always thinking about that in the morning. And at night when I'm in the shower, I have ideas of, how I could better certain things. Or, let's say I had to figure something out. I'll figure it out in the shower for some reason. It's so weird. But I guess it's just, you feel, serene and there's no one around you. You don't have to think about anything. And you can, in a way, talk to yourself, as weird as that sounds, but I think I do that. I'll sit there and be okay, I have this idea. How can I execute it? Or what can I do? Or what other ideas, come into my head while I'm taking a shower? Or sometimes I just sing. So, singing in the shower is another good thing for you. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I'm convinced that singing in the shower just, makes your day better. Especially in the beginning of the day. Sometimes I'll work out in the morning, very rarely, but if I do, after that I shower and I love it. I'm just getting pumped. It's pretty crazy, but it's true. Let's move on. Sorry about the rambling. Fact number 18. Abraham Lincoln's bodyguard left his post at Ford's Theater to go for a drink. You already know that Abraham Lincoln was shot and killed by John Wilkes Booth. Hopefully you knew that. While watching a performance at Ford's Theater in Washington, D.C. on April 14th, 1865. But you might not have been aware of that of is that the president had a bodyguard named John Frederick Parker with him on that fateful night, according to Smithsonian. And unfortunately, Parker was a police officer with less than stellar reputation. After arriving 3 hours late for his shift, the officer left his post protecting the president to get a drink at the Star Saloon next door to the theater. It was during this time that Booth entered the box seats where Lincoln was sitting and shot the president. See, that's crazy. Like, you don't even know. Fact number 19: dolphins have been trained to be used in wars. I wonder how. Dolphins are known widely as adorable, which is true. They are pretty cool, intelligent animals. What is not as widely known is these crafty creatures were used largely by the U.S. Soviet Union during the Vietnam War and Cold War. Both countries studied the creatures for their sonar capabilities, but also trained them to detect mines, bring equipment to divers, find lost equipment, and guard submarines, amongst other nifty tricks. Wow. Number 20. Playing the accordion was once required for teachers in North Korea. That's weird. Why? It's a portable grand piano. It was thought of as a people instrument that could be taken outside and played for laborers in the fields. You had to be required to do it to get your teaching certificate. That's weird. I don't know. Fact number 21. Children's medicine once contained morphine. They gave babies morphine if they were teething or anything like that to help them with pain. That's pretty crazy. 22. Plastic Easter eggs and plastic Easter grass were invented by a man who holds more patents than Thomas Edison. If you ever joined an Easter basket with plastic eggs and grass, then you can thank Donald Wetter, the man who invented both. Wetter not only holds the patents on these holiday staples, he also holds a total of 1,413 U.S. patents, including one for water-based inks, flower pot covers, and decorative wrappers. That's compared to Thomas Edison, who held 1,093 U.S. patents. Fact number 23. We're only going to do 2 more, okay, because it's getting kind of long. Water makes different boring sounds depending on its temperature. Whoa. If you listen very closely, hot water and cold water sound slightly different when being poured. The changes the thickness or viscosity of the water, which changes the pitch of the sound it makes when it's poured. What we feel as heat comes from the molecules of the water moving faster. Cold water is thicker and therefore makes a slightly higher pitch sound. Makes sense, I guess. I don't know. Water's dense. I don't know. Most laughter isn't because things are funny. Every culture in the world laughs, but surprisingly most of our laughter isn't necessarily a response to humor. Less than 20% of laughter comes after jokes, according to neuroscientists. The rest is the reaction to regular statements and questions like, how have you been? I just laughed. The ensuing laughter, however brief, helps from social bonds since people who laugh together grow closer. I'm a big laugher, so I can attest to that. I can agree. Alright, last one. Fact number 25. One man has saved more than 200 people from suicide. It's a sad fact. The Golden Gate Bridge in San Francisco is a site where many suicides take place. However, one California Highway Patrol officer has done more to combat this problem than any other individual. Officer Kevin Briggs, who battles depression himself, has personally talked more than 200 people down from the proverbial ledge throughout his career. After retiring in 2013, Briggs wrote a book called Guardian of the Golden Gate, and now goes on speaking tours to encourage public discussion of suicide and mental illness. Now see, I give that guy a lot of credit, because, he can relate to those people, considering he had depression issues as well, and he saved a bunch of lives, which is awesome. As well as now he wrote a book, and he probably talks to a lot of people and speaks to a lot of people on, depression, and he battled with it himself, and he probably but talked a lot of people down and calmed them down, saying it wasn't worth it. And, from hearing that from a police officer, you might not believe them at the time, but clearly this man took it very seriously, and he wanted to protect people and save them from doing harm to themselves and their families and their loved ones around them. So, bravo, that's a cool fact. That's awesome. But it is very late. I did film this video very, very late comment, maybe let me have some feedback. I really appreciate it. And if you really want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button, and I'll be sure to note that and do it again. The next video will probably be something different, but I'll definitely circle back to this and do the next 25 facts in another video.